conversation will be first. Then we'll take a short break so that we can transition the candidates and the speakers. And then secondly, we'll have the candidates for election for DeKalb County CEO. That's how we broke the program up tonight. Each candidate will have an opportunity to introduce themselves, and we're timing it so everyone will have the same opportunity. Then all of the questions will be asked by the moderator, Mr. Crane. The audience will have opportunity to ask their questions after the moderated questions have been asked, and then we'll have the candidate wrap up. Does everybody understand the format? Raise your hand if you do not understand. If you have a question about the format. No one? Okay, great. I like that. On your program, I just want to bring to your attention, if you turn to the back, we wanted to ensure that everyone knew the dates, the significant dates of the entire election process are on the back of your program. So this is a guide for you to have to take home so that you'll know when the next voting cycle begins and when early voting begins as well. And we also have tentative dates here listed for a runoff if that is going to be the issue. These dates were pulled off the Secretary of State website. And if you have any questions about the Secretary of State, you can also write those comments or questions on a question card, and we will get those questions to the appropriate person. Before we begin, and I'm going to turn this over to Bill Crane, introduce Bill Crane, I do want to make one other announcement. So typically when we do the forums, it's usually for the contested races. And there was one that we did not include yet to do a candidates forum for DeKalb County. And that contested race is District 6, Super District, excuse me. Super District, and I saw Kathy Ganning here earlier. That is a contested race, so we do need to let people know that. We just did not schedule that candidate forum tonight, okay? In case anyone had questions. So the last thing that I'm here to do is to introduce Bill Crane. So many of you know Bill Crane. We've known Bill Crane for a very long time, and he's moderated several forums for us when many of us were also involved with the League of Women Voters. Bill Crane has worked with WSB-TV. He's a political analyst, and he also writes a column for the Champion Free Press. So we're really excited about Bill being here tonight to offer for us an objective moderation of the program. Okay? So if there are no questions about format, about time or timekeeping, please let me know. If not, ma'am, did you have a question? Yes. No. I thought so. You can't go on. Okay. So with no further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Crane to the podium so that he can begin the dialogue with the candidates.
Thank you, Lord. Good evening, everyone. Just a couple of house rules I'd like to share. If you have your cell phones on, please put them on standard vibrate. If you have to take a call, feel free to do so. But if your phone goes off, if you'll step out of the room and take the calls. We have no problem with you responding or reacting. I will ask you if you're applauding or you're booing, you keeping it brief for this panel and the next one, and then that cuts into the time that they have to speak and share their thoughts with you. Would like to exercise a little bit of prerogative here, and that I believe truly that leadership in public life is not easy. It's not well paid. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time spent at events like this, meeting and greeting. So I'm going to ask one more time, all of the existing local elected and state elected that are in the room, it's a substantial number, if you'd please stand, and since I don't have a complete list, I'm going to start left and work my way right. If you'll just give to the audience your name and the title, the office you hold or district you represent. I don't see on this front row, so as I'm going backwards, unless I miss somebody. Commissioner Rader.
Commissioner Rader, I'm Commissioner for District 2.
Solicitor Boston.
Hi, I'm the Solicitor General, Sherry Boston. I'm running to be the next District Attorney in DeKalb County.
Senator Parent.
Thanks. I'm Elena Parent. I am the State Senator for District 42 in DeKalb. You're in District 42 right now.
Representative Hawkins.
Yes, I am P. Dr. Taylor, State Representative, House District 91, and candidate for Senate District 43.
Mr. Chairman.
Howard Wilson, State Representative, District 83.
George.
George Cheney, Mr. Councilman for the City of Pine Lake, everything is
Ma'am.
Hi, I'm Deborah Jackson, Mayor of the City of Blackstone.
Did I miss anyone? Okay, now I'd like to ask all candidates for any local or state elected office for this. Again, you all stand up and we're going to do the same thing. I'm not sliding, I'm just by group. Candidates. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, my name is Donna Owens-Tripley. I am presently the Deputy Chief of the Crime Against Children Unit here at the DeKalb County DA's office, and I'm running to be the next one.
And it's fair to get a twofer. You're holding one office.
I am Sherry Boston. I currently serve as your Solicitor General. I'm leaving that post to serve you as the next DA in DeKalb County.
Anyone else? Please give them all a hand. Everybody. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Rhonda Taylor, running for House District 91, the seat that is currently being vacated by Deep Hawkins DeHagler, and just need your support.
For those of you who don't know, the general primary election is May the 24th. We'll have early and advanced voting starting very soon. It is the earliest summer primary we've had in Georgia in some time. Hopefully, we'll see the same kind of turnout we saw in the presidential preference primaries. A lot of interest, but that in part starts with you, getting out and talking to people, reminding folks that there is an election ahead. Just touching again for the candidates before I let them introduce themselves. Everyone tonight in both of these panels will have 2 minutes opening and closing statements. I'm going to give you a little bit of direction on what we'd like to see in your opening statement. And in your closing statement, it's pretty much whatever you'd like to say. Every question asked by myself or a member of the audience will have 90 seconds to answer. If in your answer you choose to mention, reference, or incite the name of an opponent or somebody else is running for the office, that person, if they're here, will be off for 30 seconds to respond. We'll continue that. We'll be done with this session at 7:30. We'll take a 10-minute break and we'll resume with the CEO panel. So I would like to, in reverse, as was stated earlier in alphabetic order, ask Steve Bradshaw, who's a candidate for District 4, introduce yourself, and then if you would, in that introduction, share with the audience 1 or 2 things in your life that you think are relevant accomplishments that might be helpful to the office you're seeking. The same question for you. Steve Bradshaw.
Good evening. Mike working. Good evening.
Yeah, try it one more time.
Good evening.
Okay. How are you?
Right there, just so you know, when she holds up the white card, that means you got 30 seconds left, and when she holds up that means shut the hell up. And I will call any or all on the shut the hell up, but I'll let you have time I'll wave at you to finish your thought. Steve.
Let's try this again. Good evening.
Good evening.
That was weak. Let's try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. Much better. My name is Steve Bradshaw. I'm running for the District 4 County Commission seat. And in terms of what's relevant in my life that I bring to this opportunity, I describe myself as a soldier, as a teacher, and as a businessman. As a soldier, I spent 7 years on active duty as a United States Army officer, formerly trained as a tank commander, fought in the First Persian Gulf War in 1991. As a teacher, I've had the great privilege of teaching in the Public Policy School, the Andrew Young School at Georgia State University. And as a businessman, most of my career since leaving the Army has been in the private sector, mostly in business development. And why that's relevant, why all those things in my life are relevant, is because I think it makes me well-rounded, it makes me disciplined, and it makes me accessible. And what's required in a job like this is to be accessible, to listen. So I think I bring those qualities to this opportunity.
Next, we have Mr. Lance Lawyer Hammonds. Mr. Hammonds.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Lance Hammonds, and I'm running for the DeKalb County District 4. I have been serving in this community for 31 years in various leadership positions. I have served the children of this community by advocating for them as chair of the NAACP's Education Committee at school board meetings and by hosting parent rallies and boot camps. I've served the homeowners associations of our community by working with them and helping to serve their special needs by helping with road repairs. And a special project that I'm proud of is working with them to restore the values in their community. I've also served by listening to the residents of our community by working with them to get Snapfinger Road designated as MLK Parkway. And right now, our community has its annual holiday parade in that area. Bottom line is, I love this community. I love this community. I'm not leaving this community, and this is why I've stepped up to serve. Two things that is unique about me, the great moments is, one was when my daughter was born. That was the moment that I realized how important it is for families to be intact, families to be strong, and how with strong families, we can improve our community. So I'm a real good advocate of strong families, and as your next commissioner, I pledge to do everything in my power to make sure that we have policies that strengthen families.
Thank you. As a native of DeKalb County, and having lived here the majority of my 55 years, I noticed this election cycle that WSB has added the word to my title of the station, senior political. I wasn't sure if that was because maybe it was the birthday or whatever else that was. But I've